Welcome to the final Jubilee. Today we'll be reading from Azazel Theologically Unmasked, Chapter 2, The Enchanter, Azazel's Forbidden Knowledge. Azazel was not just a destination. He was a teacher. The forbidden arts of Azazel. Azazel revealed forbidden knowledge according to Enoch 8 through 9. This was not just acts of war and fornication, but was on the eternal secrets concealed in heaven. Chapter 9 states, Enoch 9:6, "You see what Azazel has done, teaching unrighteousness on earth and revealing the eternal secrets concealed in heaven?" The unrighteous part is what chapter 8 explains in the Book of Enoch. Enoch 8, 1 through 2. Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, and armor from the metals of the earth. He taught the women how to see behind them, how to make bracelets, ornaments, and other kinds of jewelry using precious stones, and the beautifying of the eyes with makeup of various colors. This led them astray into fornication and ungodliness, and they became corrupt in all their ways. As we look back at Enoch the Theological Story, we can look at chapter 6, where I discuss that Jasher and the Book of Enoch both talked about abortion and birth control, that it was nothing new today. This happened before the flood and was a part of Azazel's corruption, leading to ungodliness and fornication. Jasher 2:22. "And some of those sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren, in the order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them. And the children-bearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands, as widows whistled their husbands lived for the barren ones, only they were attracted." Enoch 99:5. "And in those days the destitute will abort and mangle their own children, and they will abandon them, so that their children will perish through them. They will abandon their infant and not return to them, and will have no pity on their beloved ones. Again, I swear to you, sinners that sin and prepared for a day of unceasing bloodshed." Azazel's lessons were not of wisdom. They were of weaponry. Set, the Egyptian god, was also a master of seduction and magic. His love enchantments were crafted with stone paralleling the cosmetic and seduction arts, like those Azazel gave women. Both figures weaponized desires. Azazel and Set both do things not out of love for others, or to multiply the earth like God commanded in being fruitful and multiplying. This was all done out of selfishness, lust, and jealousy, wanting to rule over the earth as a king. Azazel revealed secret knowledge that is not spoken about, that we may never know what it was. He was also a deceiver and a liar who deceived everyone. He weaponized love and made what was great into a sin. Those who worshipped him were under his spell. He controlled them to do wicked things. But Azazel wasn't looked at as evil at the beginning. He was seen to be a teacher who knew many things. Set, the Egyptian god, helped out the sun god Re to control Apophis, as we talked about in Enoch the Theological Story. We may never know what heavenly secrets that Azazel revealed, but we can look at the corruption he made out of things like sex. What did he teach that made it so sinful? Fornication or adultery. And what of sin? The Bible strongly condemns adultery and the fallen angels' defilement of flesh, but it does not clearly label premarital sex as sin. Exodus 22:16-17 commands restitution if a virgin is seduced, not a sacrifice. The sin is social, not spiritual. Exodus 22:16-17, ESV. If a man seduces a virgin who is not brotheled and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. If her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the bride price for virgins. So the sin was not on either of them. It doesn't say anything of their actions to have premarital sex being sinful. Many will mix up adultery and premarital sex up and say it is a sin. Adultery started with the Watchers, the fallen sons of God. They came down with lustful eyes in Enoch 69, and in the Nag Hammadi Gnostic Gospel, it claims they chased Eve around the Garden of Eden and defiled themselves trying to rape her. Eve had a husband who was Adam. Enoch The Theological Story covers this story in chapters 3-5 about these Watchers. Azazel was one of them. He was a leader listed twice to command other Watchers. All of these sons of heaven swore an oath on Mount Hermon to do this plan to choose wives from among men. They didn't care if she was married, as they initially chased Eve. The New Testament adds, God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterers. Hebrews 13:4, but the term porneia includes prostitution, adultery, incest, but not unmarried union. How do we define sexually immoral? Immoral stands for not conforming to accepted standards of morality. Sexual immorality is morally wrong behaviors that include acts of violence, like rape, or using sex as a weapon to get what you want, homosexuality, and prostitution. Earlier, I mentioned Set used sex as a weapon against his nephew, Horus. Set was also known for rape and sexual desires that were not natural. Jesus states that if we even look at a woman with lustful eyes, we have committed adultery. What is adultery? The term means a married person pursuing sexual intercourse with someone who is not their spouse. So if you are unmarried and look at another person that you are attracted to in the act of approaching them, that does not mean you are committing adultery. This only applies to those who are married. But the act of adultery started with Azazel and the fallen sons of God. They are the ones who taught immorality. Enoch condemns the Watchers for leaving the eternal heaven and defiling themselves with the daughters of men. Enoch 15:1-3. He said, "Fear not, Enoch, righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Go say to the Watchers of heaven who have sent you to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, and not men for you. Why have you left the eternal heaven and lain with women and defiled yourself with the daughters of men by taking them as wives, like the children of earth do, and begotten giants as your sons?" The corruption of knowledge. This section of lust for impurity and mating with mankind was just a small section of what corruption happened. In Enoch 69, Baquel requested Michael to share with him a hidden name. They had a plan to enucate the name with an oath. This secret was revealed to the children of men. Enoch 69:14-16. One angel named Baquel requested Michael to show him the hidden name so he could enucate it in an oath. so that those might quake before that name and oath, who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. This is the power of that oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath of Enki in the hand of Michael. These are the secrets of this oath, which strengthened them, and which suspended heaven before the world was created and forever. So Azazel shared this information with mankind. His sin was deeper than just violence and fornication. Azazel shared the secrets of how everything was created. He gave out the secret name. Azazel's sin was not lust, it was inversion. He took what was holy and turned it against heaven. Moses in the house of Azazel. Set worshipped in Egypt. Azazel was not first looked at as an evil deity. Like the Egyptian god Set theology, his earliest image was one of strength, war, and power. The god of storms and the desert, Set was worshipped for his might long before he was demonized. Set's rebellion of chaos wasn't looked at in his early days, but it resembled cosmetic necessities. In fact, Set was praised for protecting the sun god Re's solar barque from Apophis, who was known as the serpent of darkness. I covered this in chapter 6 of Enoch The Theological Story. Set's knowledge of enchantments and desert warfare made him a god to be feared and followed. Moses was born into a world that worshipped Set in the household he grew up in. Scholars have agreed that Moses was raised in the house of Pharaoh's Ramses II, one of Egypt's most powerful kings. According to the Book of the Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt, Ramses II, his wife, Hittite, stated he was a devoted worshiper of Set. Temples were built in Set's honor. Prayers were offered. Battles were fought under his protection. The god of chaos was not just tolerated, he was enthroned. Which means Moses, the author of Leviticus, was raised in a household that revealed Azazel under another name. Before Moses sent the goat with sins on it to the desert, he was trained in a place of the God who received it. This puts a lot of evidence pointing to our Rashom effect on Azazel and Set. Theological irony is cosmetic. The very boy educated in the language, symbols, and rituals of Set would grow into the prophet who cast sin upon him. What began as reverence became rejection. What began as a god became a scapegoat. The Enchanter was never holy. He only wrote the mask. Set and Azazel's actions of rebellion are what echo for eternity and judgment. One of the first rituals of Set's dates back to the first dynasty and was the royal hippopotamus hunt. Set was one of the oldest known deities, as I explained in Enoch The Theological Stories, that his parents were Gabanut. Like Azazel, Set was there at the beginning of creation. As stated in the Revelations of Abraham, Azazel was with the serpent Gadarel in the Book of Enoch in chapter 69. This same chapter in Enoch says Azazel was a leader and commander of many. Abraham saw him in his vision and revelation I discussed it. Set controlled the serpent Apophis. Azazel controlled the serpent in Eden, whose name is Gadarel. Both Apophis and Gadarel are described as demons of chaos, making both of them looking like heroes from the beginning. Azazel and Semjaza, the two serpents of the fall. While Azazel taught humanity to wield weapons, adorn faces, and manipulate appearances, drawing them into fornication, Semjaza seduced heaven itself. Semjaza was not a follower. He was the first named leader in Enoch 69:2, the one who initiated the pact of the 200 watchers in Enoch 6. Fearing judgment, he bound them together under oath on Mount Hermon. But their rebellion didn't begin there. Long before the oath, Azazel and Semjaza were already corrupting the earth. Their earliest act was not directed at nations, but at Eden. According to chapter 3 of Enoch, the theological story, the angels first set their lustful eyes on Eve. Semjaza, driven by desire, attempted to violate her, but the plan failed. Azazel, ever the strategist, sent Gadarel, one of the subdorments, who deceives her at the tree of knowledge. Gadarel succeeded not with force, but with a lie. But the deception went deeper. In the revelation of Abraham, it is revealed that Azazel stood between Adam and Eve in the garden, not as the serpent, but as the one who controlled the serpent. He directed Gadarel. He positioned himself as a presence of authority. And in doing so, he appeared as the hero. Semjaza looked like the villain. Azazel looked like the one who intervened, but it was all a ruse. Azazel was deceiving not just humanity, but heaven itself. This mirrors the Egyptian partner. Set appeared to aid Re by holding back Apophis, but in truth, Set was the greatest chaos. In Greek myth, Prometheus appears as the light bringer, with Typhoon is the monster, but both are judged and bound. Enoch 69 gives the structure. The first of them is Semjaza, the 10th Azazel, the 21st Azazel, Enoch 69, 2-3. Azazel is listed twice. Once is not enough to contain this influence. He didn't just rebel. He embedded himself in the story. He wore the mask of light. Semjaza initiated the descent. Azazel perfected the system. And Revelations 13 confirms the pattern. And the dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority, Revelations 3:2. But Revelations 20:1-3 seals it. He seized the dragon, the ancient serpent who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. This is not contradiction. It is a hierarchy. The serpent is Gadarel, the deceiver of Eden. The dragon is Semjaza, the rebellious watcher who corrupted covenant. The beast is Azazel, the commander of both. The serpent and the dragon submitted to the beast. It was Azazel who orchestrated the fall from the beginning. This was not one sin. It was a spiritual companion. Azazel may look like a misunderstood teacher, Semjaza a noble rebel, but the Book of Enoch and the memories echoed through myth unmask them both. They are not misunderstood. They are not victims. They are the twin serpents of the fall, ruled by the beast. In Egyptian myth, Apophis appears as the serpent, a crocodile or a dragon, chaos with many faces. But one god ruled him, Set. Set the false savior, was the master of the chaos he claimed to control. Just as Set ruled Apophis, Azazel ruled Semjaza and Gadarel. Apophis never moved without Set. The serpent and the dragon never moved without Azazel. With the Egyptian myth remembered in fragments, what the Greeks echoed in shadow, what Revelation prophesied at the end, was first shown to Enoch. They are not misunderstood. They are not victims. They are the twin serpents of the fall ruled by the beast.
Judgment. God sent his Lord angels to guide.